You think your memory is a documentary. It's not. It's a PR department. Right now, as you're sitting there, your brain is quietly scanning your past and trimming out the footage where you looked incompetent, awkward, or weak. Not because you're dishonest, because you're biologically engineered to survive. Today, we're dismantling the neuroscience of active forgetting and exposing the hippocampus as the master editor that deletes your failures to keep your identity intact. Here's something strange. You can't remember where you left your keys yesterday, but somehow you also can't quite recall the time you bombed that presentation, misread that email, or embarrassed yourself in front of people you respect. It's not random. We've been sold this idea that memory is like a security camera. It records everything and stores it somewhere in the attic of your mind. But neuroscience says something very different. Memory is not a recording device, it's a dynamic editing process. Your brain isn't trying to preserve objective truth, it's trying to preserve functional stability. For decades, forgetting was treated like a glitch, a failure of encoding or decay over time. But modern research shows that forgetting is often active, not passive. Your brain doesn't just lose memories, it prunes them intentionally. At the center of this operation is the hippocampus, your brain's lead archivist. Every experience you have gets triaged. Does this matter? Is it useful? Is it dangerous? Does it threaten the self? For a memory to become long-term, it requires protein synthesis, the biological construction work that stabilizes neural connections. No protein synthesis, no long-term storage. And here's the twist. The brain can interrupt this process. If an event is flagged as deeply threatening to your identity, not physically threatening, but ego threatening, the hippocampus can choke consolidation. The data never fully stabilizes. It degrades. It fades. Not because you weren't paying attention, but because your self-concept was under attack. Your brain decided that preserving your identity was more important than preserving footage. Now let's get uncomfortable. Your brain runs on prediction and coherence. It wants your life story to make sense. When a failure creates cognitive dissonance, I am competent versus I just failed spectacularly, something has to give. Often it's the memory. Dopaminergic reward circuits reinforce narratives that protect self-esteem. Stress signaling molecules tag threatening memories for suppression, and recent breakthroughs in molecular neuroscience have identified specific intracellular cascades that can weaken synaptic strength when an event destabilizes identity cohesion. Translation: there are literal biochemical delete signals, not a dramatic wipe, more like a gradual erosion, a sanding down of sharp edges. Your biggest failure doesn't disappear. It becomes blurry, emotionally flattened, contextually rearranged, until they no longer threaten who you believe you are. Here's where it gets even stranger. Every time you recall a memory, it becomes unstable again. This is called reconsolidation. The memory reopens, and when it closes, it's slightly altered. Details shift, motives get cleaner. You were tired when you made that mistake. The other person was unreasonable. It wasn't that big of a deal. Your brain fills in the gaps left by prune failures with logical edits to maintain a coherent life story. You don't experience this as lying, you experience it as remembering. Over time, this creates a personal mythology, not delusion, but curated continuity. A story that allows you to move forward without being crushed by every misstep. Now zoom out. Imagine early humans who remembered every humiliating mistake in vivid detail, every failed hunt, every social rejection, every miscalculation. Would they take risks again? Probably not. Selective forgetting wasn't a flaw, it was fuel. It allowed resilience, it allowed boldness. It allowed you to try again without being paralyzed by the full emotional weight of the last failure. In evolutionary terms, being slightly self-deceptive was adaptive. It kept the tribe moving. But now we live in a digital world. Your brain may erase the sting of a failed pitch. The internet doesn't. Your internal narrative may shift. The external record remains. And that creates tension between biological design and modern reality. So what do we do with this? First, understand this clearly. You are not messed up because you forget your failures. You're biologically engineered to soften them. But growth requires conscious override. If the hippocampus is pruning ego threats automatically, then learning demands intentional recall. It means revisiting discomfort before it gets edited. It means journaling immediately after mistakes, before reconsolidation cleans them up. It means asking what actually happened, not the flattering version, the factual one. Because while your brain protects your self-esteem, your future depends on accuracy. Here's the paradox. The more willingly you confront your failures, the less your brain has to hide them. When your identity becomes strong enough to absorb truth, your memory becomes less defensive. And that might be the real evolution. You don't have a bad memory, you have a protective one. The question is, are you ready to remember who you really were so you can become who you're actually capable of being? What's something you failed at that ultimately made you stronger? Your brain may have softened the memory, but the growth is still there. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And until next time, my little cherubs, Mima's always rooting for you.